can't be good at everything, that's for sure. And 37% of people have failed at this. I have. Going back to school is so tough because you don't want to be the kid that sticks out. You want to just fit in. But there's a 5-year-old that has some learning disabilities and some physical disabilities. And he really didn't fit in until one kid did one simple thing. Maybe you're worshiping and all of a sudden somebody cuts you off and you say something a little less worshipful. That's, we all do it, right? But it's not necessarily good emotionally or spiritually. What to do instead that might help you out, and how to start your morning off right every morning. That's coming up on The Good News Show with Andy, where I'm all about putting a smile on your face and hope in your heart.
The Good News Show with Andy.
The number of the day is
37% of people have tried this only to completely fail. Surprised not 100%. Painting. And I think this is one of those things where you really can't ever fail at it, right? You give it a shot. I experienced this when I was painting with my 7-year-old the other day. Mom comes home and we're showing off our watercolors and she goes, "Well, where's your painting, honey?" I'm like, "What? Ouch! You can't tell the difference?" Maybe you can relate to this person asking for prayer on our prayer wall. They say, "Andy, I didn't get the job interview that I was really hoping for. I applied, but they didn't even give me an interview. And I'm feeling rejected and I'm feeling kind of worthless." Maybe if you've gone through a situation like that, could you just share some encouragement for this friend? And I know so many others that are going through this too right now. Carol, you have some advice for the person who's asking for prayer because they didn't hear back for the job interview they really wanted.
I was just going to tell he or she not to take it personal, because how could they even evaluate her if they never gave the interview? So it has nothing to do with her qualifications. So I wouldn't take it personal.
And it's so easy to think, oh, I must be a bad person because they don't even want to talk to me.
They had nothing to judge her on other than words on a page, but that's still not knowing them. It wasn't the right one job.
I hope this story makes you smile today.
Don't know what's harder for you as a mom, you getting the kids ready for back to school, or you emotionally preparing your heart to let them out into the wild again. You got to imagine that this poor mom felt that way. Her son is 5. He's vision impaired and has autism. His name's Nate. And the first day of school, of course, Nate really had a hard time finding friends because he's just different than other kids. Everything changed, though, when one child volunteered to open the door for Nate and lead him out to the playground. But he didn't just leave Nate there at the swing. He kept playing with him. Now, other classmates have joined in to help and become friends with Nate, too. He's learning to communicate for the first time in his life, and I just think it all started with one person. It just takes one person to do the right thing. What do you do when someone is a little critical of something that you say or do? And it might not even be a harsh criticism. It's just kind of, well, maybe you could have done this differently. Well, if you're like me, all of a sudden the defenses go up. It's like those war movies with the red alert, and the red thing starts flashing. And this is some advice that might help you out. I'm going to try to start doing this too. First thing to do is just hit the pause button. We're just wired to retaliate when we feel like we're being attacked. So when you take a breath, you give yourself time to shift your focus inward and just find a little more constructive way to respond. When you read the Bible, there's this theme that comes up over and over again, where people, they go and do things that God doesn't want them to do, and then they come back to God, and then maybe they fall away again. And I think God put that there for us to say, hey, this is what's going to happen to you too. So maybe this is the question you can ask, when things go wrong, instead of going back to God, what do you do instead? And why? Taking that moment to think about, okay, why did I do that? And really dissect why. That is going to unlock incredible freedom in your life, and to figure out, I'm replacing God with this. And maybe next time I won't. If you've ever been listening and you're in traffic and you're like worshiping God, then all of a sudden somebody cuts you off and you say words that are not so worshipful. That's a great example of compartmentalization. We all do it. And if you want to become more spiritually healthy emotionally, here's a way to avoid that and level up your life. Before you do anything, every single day, maybe just say a quick prayer. And it says in the Bible to pray without ceasing. So before you start your car, you can pray, God, I'm going to give this trip to you. Before you get into work, you get out of the car, you say, God, I'm going to give this day of work to you. Before you send that angry email, You've been waiting a long time to send. Say, God, I'm going to give this email to you. I want it to bring you glory. And I tell you what, if I prayed that before I hit send, I wouldn't send it. Kind of an interesting thought. You know that show Undercover Boss? Travis says this. He says, I want to see an episode of Undercover Boss with Jesus in some churches around my neighborhood. Woo, boy, I don't know what I would do if I saw Jesus next to me. If you don't think that your job can make a difference, two things happened to me on my lunch break that it was so incredible. So I go to the bike shop and my bike tires popped. I'm not a bike guy, so I'm just like, here's the tire. He stops what he was doing and he's like, oh, I'll fix it for you right away. There was something else wrong with it. He did it in 5 minutes. It was like $8 to fix. Thank you. Then I went to another place to get my son's ripstick, which is kind of like a skateboard with two wheels, fixed. And the guy's like, yeah, I could take care of it, no problem, right away. And then I went back to work and I thought, this is incredible. Two people that were so helpful, and they might think, well, I just fix a bike or I work at a sporting goods store. It meant the world to me that they didn't treat me like I didn't know what I was talking about, even though I don't. They said, I can help you, and then they helped me. Here's how to start your morning off right. It's your Daily Joy Scroll.
Most powerful things that anyone can do, believe it or not, is to have someone each morning that they text good morning to. Find someone who you can communicate with each morning. Just a good morning text. Seriously, this is one of the most powerful things you can do, to check in with another member of your species each morning. You don't have to have a conversation. You don't have to talk about what you're going to do each day. Knowing that someone else out there in the world cares about us each morning when we wake up makes us feel incredibly part of the tribe.
Hey, Casey, what's up?
I'm having one of the roughest days of my life. See, the thing is, having autism, sometimes people don't fully understand the way I operate, the way I think, or the way I work, or the way I talk, or the way I act. And I'm at the point where I just kind of want to lift up my hands and say, I'm done, Lord. I can't do this anymore. People need to either respect me or get out of my life.
Well, Casey, this seems so opposite of maybe what you've been told your whole life, but there's this book called When to Walk Away, and Gary Thomas goes through 41 different times in the Bible when Jesus did that. He either walked away from people that were toxic or let people walk away. And sometimes you just need a little space from people. That's okay too. And Casey, I know I'm not the only one that's going to be praying for you, so I hope you have a chance to check in sometime and just let us know how you're doing.
Absolutely, Andy. Thank you so much.
You've got some advice for Casey?
I have my own disability. I suffered a brain aneurysm, and I learned so much about the way people respond to disabilities. You know, I struggle with short-term memory still to this day. You just got to walk away and pray about it. Ask for guidance. Don't feel shameful. You know, just ask for guidance because God understands everything.
That just makes me think about that verse that says, God's strength is made perfect in our weakness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying you have to lean on God and ask for direction and guidance, and He'll give you signs. He'll lead you the way that you're supposed to be going.
If you've been trying to find a house in this crazy market right now, you know how hard it is. Julie says, we are under contract for a house almost $20K below listing price. She says, this is what we did. Maybe it'll work for you. How? She said, we looked for cosmetically outdated houses in great neighborhoods. She says, you won't believe how many other buyers pass on houses due to things that are easily changeable. I don't know, it's kind of like how God, right? He doesn't look at the outside of us, he looks at the inside. And it's a good reminder for you too. It's kind of like the starter pack for small talk, right? You meet somebody new. What do you do? Andrew says, stop asking us that question because we answer emails. All but 15 minutes of everyone's job. It's just emails. Well, that, I guess, maybe, and now Zoom calls too.